And I'm Matt Rosa, joined by Quan, and we're here to talk NFL Week 13. Thanksgiving was really giving some hope to some fan bases, was giving some devastation to others. We had a lot of upset wins. The Carolina Panthers over the Rams was a big one. The Cowboys getting a surprising win on the Thanksgiving holiday over the Chiefs. And we'll dive into that and much, much more. Some NBA talk as well. Now that the season is in full swing, some spicy comments being thrown around anonymously, anonymous. I think I'm saying that right. I practiced about 5 times before the show and it sounded right.
Anonymously.
Anonymously, something, whatever. We're gonna get into all that and more. This is Infamously Speaking. Of course, before we jump into all that, if you're not already subscribed to the Infamously Speaking YouTube channel, go ahead, hit subscribe. Only helps the channel grow. Make sure that you don't miss any content, or when we go live, you could be in the audience chatting it up with everybody. We respond to every comment as we record. Also, make sure you're following us on socials, TikTok, Instagram at Infamously Speaking. Best way to connect with us while we're not on the show, get our thoughts and takes. Before we jump into everything, Quan, how's it going, man?
It's going good, man. Can't complain. Blessed to see another day, have another episode, be back on the show with my brother, talk a little football, sip a little something. It's been a while since I sipped a little something and got to have
Salud.
a smoke. So can't complain, man. Can't complain. I mean, I could too, but what's the point?
Listen, not much to complain about when your team is sitting at 11-2, best record in the NFL, and just continues to take names and take souls on a football field. I mean, man, let's start there Monday night for that
Actually,
those that don't watch. Again.
let me ask you a question because I think I know how you feel because we talked about it week after week.
Mm-hmm.
But this narrative of the teams that we're playing in the week schedule, um, I know I'm pretty sure I know how you feel about it as far as like you play who's in front of you. But like how do you stop those comments from continuing? Other than just winning in the playoffs is the only thing I can feel will stop the nonsense.
I think that's really it. But also, aren't good teams supposed to beat the shit out of bad teams? Right? And that's what the Patriots have done. I think the worst loss of the season was that week one loss to the Raiders, right? And they have one other loss. And I can't, it's been so long. Are they on a 10-game winning streak or 9-game winning streak? I don't even
Yeah, we
remember what
haven't
the other
lost
loss was
since
to.
September.
Um, but
September 27th or something like that. We haven't
I could
lost.
say the combined record of the teams that the Patriots have beat this season so far is 46-88. And a lot of people make a lot of noise about that. Here's my take on it. Like you said, you can only play who's in front of you. What I just said. Good teams are supposed to beat up on bad teams. They got a fourth place schedule this year because they were bad. Well, how many games y'all win last year? 3?
Yeah.
So to have this kind of turnaround is ridiculous. To be the top seed in the NFL overall is ridiculous. To have the MVP candidate, I haven't checked the odds, but I mean, with the Rams lost, Drake May has to be the favorite, especially after another great game against the Giants. And the thing is, they are elite in all three phases. They are elite in all three phases: offense, defense, special teams. Marcus Jones is one of, if not the best punt returner in the NFL. He just housed one on Monday. I got to watch that in HD, 4K. That was fantastic. Love that. They're just firing on all cylinders. They're fiery, they're feisty, they're playing for their coach, and they're lighting it up. And they're not even doing that with offensively with super top tier star-studded talent. Now, here's how I feel about the Patriots. It, Tom Brady, you know, the AFC East was weak when y'all ran the division. AFC East was terrible, but they proved it. They proved they were great because when they played great teams, they beat them. They won in the playoffs. Obviously, the playoffs the ultimate test. But what more do you want a team that won 3 games last year to do? What more do you want? That's where I stand on it.
I appreciate that. Very well said. I don't think I can say it any better, so I won't dwell on that. I think it is what it is. Like
It is what it is,
we just
bro.
gotta keep proving them wrong week by week. We got two competitive games, what should be competitive games, is the against the Bills and the Ravens fighting, right? So we'll see how those goes. I wouldn't even mind losing. Like I said, I think losing late in the season kind of refreshes you with like, you know, we gotta tighten up, especially going into the playoffs.
Absolutely. I mean, winning sweeping the series against the Bills would be massive, massive. Even going into the playoffs, not only are you holding on to that one seed, because Denver is right on your heels. They keep winning too, but you just beat what was supposed to be the upper echelon of the AFC, and you swept them. I mean, what's going to give you more confidence heading into the playoffs than that? I
True.
mean, and I know they haven't lost in a while, but I feel like a loss to the Raiders on your record is like worth like three losses at this point, the way they've looked this season. So, um, no, I was utterly impressed by what New England was able to do against the Giants on Monday. Like I said, just they looked dominant all three phases. Um, and remember, that was a Giants offense that was doing things. They were moving the ball. They were able to move the ball with Dart at quarterback, even with Jameis at quarterback. They were able to move the ball, but not really too much on Monday night. The Patriots defense was stifling. They were able to contain Dart's legs, which was a big deal. I know a lot of people were making noise about Dart not going out of bounds and getting absolutely lit up on the sidelines early in the game, um, which is a whole different topic. But the Patriots, they're just playing elite football. And I think you could throw that bad record stuff out the trash. You know, you beat the teams that you're supposed to play. I mean, you beat the teams you're supposed to beat, and that should give you the confidence to play anybody. Um, I know I jumped right to Monday night. I wasn't planning on doing that, but you brought up the Patriots, so I was like, man, let's talk about it. Um, for those that don't know, Quan's a loyal New England fan, and I'm a diehard Giants fan. So thankfully, he was gracious enough not to text me on Monday night as the massacre was happening.
I
Um,
couldn't. I couldn't. I wish I could, but I couldn't. Um,
it was a good thing. I was already depressed. I was
Good.
already
I'm glad
depressed.
I couldn't. I didn't add on to that. I've been in my positive moods and my positive vibes lately. So
That's good. It's good, but I'm not sure how much I fuck with it just yet. Because I appreciate a little bit of the negativity too. Keeps things balanced. I appreciate balance.
it's good to have balance.
I agree. It's funny because I was talking with my coworkers at work. We got this call that we do, and it's a kind of like a bullshit, shoot the shit kind of call. And it was last Wednesday, my first day back to work. And you're like, "How's your trip?" I was like, "It was good. I went back to the East Coast to charge up my negative battery because too much positivity out here." But no, definitely balance is important. Balance is important. Um, all right, let's move on. Let's talk. Let's go a little bit back in time. Talk about Thanksgiving Day games because the first two games did not disappoint. Green Bay at Detroit, the first game of that Thanksgiving triple header. Green Bay, massive win to keep pace with the Bears in the NFC North. Sweep the series against the Lions, which really hurts the Lions' chances at winning the division at all. They'd really have to be. I mean, unless there's a collapse from the Packers or the Bears, they'd be looking to get into the playoffs as a wild card. But a really impressive game out of Jordan Love, which I think is something that we've both been calling for. Like, I'm not sure how much of this game you got to watch, but when Jordan Love is on, the Packers look almost unbeatable because their offense could be so good and their defense is extremely good.
So I didn't get to watch a lot of that game. If I'm being honest, I didn't get to watch much of it. You know, my grandmother had some health issues, so a good portion of the family got together and was there for support and just enjoying that family time. And that was a
That's a
time where
blessing.
I had to I had to separate myself from pretty much everything just to give the attention it needed. But
Right.
um, they kind of had it playing in the background, but there was no volume and stuff, so it was difficult to watch. But it's funny because I remember as the games was going, I didn't even really get to pay a lot of attention to the fantasy as well. But I was like, damn, me and Matt definitely got that one wrong because we going into it, we had the Lions, right?
We did. We didn't actually make official picks. We both picked the Lions to win the division, though, right?
Yeah.
We did the futures picks, bro. I think if we would have picked games across Thursday and Friday, because the Eagles game on Black Friday, I would have went 0 for 4. I would have went 0 for 4. Because I definitely would have picked the Lions. I 100% would have picked the Chiefs. I definitely would have picked the Ravens, and I definitely
Who
would
the
have picked
Chiefs
the
lose to?
Eagles, the Cowboys.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I
Cowboys
definitely would
got
have
hot. Cowboys getting hot.
getting hot at the right time. I would have picked the Ravens over the Bengals, and I would have picked the Eagles over the Bears. So I would have went 0 for 4. Thankfully, we did not. We didn't put that in stone.
I would have
That
went
would have been bad
probably
luck.
1 for 4, maybe 2 for 4.
Who would you have taken?
I definitely would have took the Bears.
Oh yeah, you probably would have.
I would have took the Bears.
A spite pick, out of spite.
No, it's just using your eyes and logic.
No. Tell me what the Bears do well.
Oh, they got the better coach, the better quarterback.
No. That's a push.
A tush push.
Call it what you want.
What's the push? The quarterback or the coach?
Oh, the
Definitely not the
quarterback.
coach.
No, not the coach. The quarterback's a push because Caleb didn't play well.
Caleb hasn't really played well through the majority of the season because I have him in dual quarterback league and he don't get me a lot of points. It's their running game.
He's made some.
They
really
ran for like
timely
2
throws.
something, didn't they?
That's
Yeah.
what I was. That's where I thought you were gonna go first. There's two things the Bears do really well. It's run the ball. They have the second best rushing attack, and take away the ball. Best turnover margin by almost double in the NFL. One of the two
So there
things
you
they
go.
do well.
So you knew the answer. It was a rhetorical question. You just want
It
to know
was.
my
I was
insight.
just. I was curious. Like, why would you have picked the Bears in Philly?
Philly sucks. Philly sucks.
It's wild to think how many like 8 and 4 and 7 and 5 teams there are in the NFL at this point, and you're like, really? Like, bro, the Texans are 7 and 5.
Yeah, that's
Think about
wild.
that.
That's
Now
wild.
that's a credit to D'Amico and that elite defense, but they started 0 and 3. I mean, the Panthers are 7 and 6.
I like that.
So do I.
I want the Panthers. I want the Panthers to win that.
So do I. I got a lot of money riding on Bryce Young.
Bryce. Yeah.
A lot of money. And every other week, I feel great. And then on the off week, I feel like a donut. So, but this Green Bay game, a couple of things that stood out. Number one, that Amon-Ra injury is going to be huge. Depending on if he misses, especially because they play Thursday, they play tomorrow. It's December 3rd as we record this episode. That's going to be massive. If he doesn't play, that could really swing the tide to Dallas's favor. That offense is not the same without him commanding the middle of the field like he normally does. So that's going to be huge. Their offensive line health. I'm not sure if you saw, but they were going to bring back Frank Ragnow, who retired, but he didn't pass his physical, so he's not unretiring. So they need help up front. So, and their defense, you can get their defense. And they just lost Terrion Arnold, one of their corners for the rest of the season. He's done. So if Amon-Ra doesn't play, it's really hard outside of Gibbs, because Gibbs is phenomenal.
I don't think St. Brown's gonna play from what I was looking at. But I think this is an opportunity for Tesla.
Yeah. Him and that other kid, I can't remember his name. He actually had he made a couple of plays in the game. Let me see. I'm gonna pull up his name right now.
Remember the running back?
Kennedy. What running back?
The running back with the profile picture.
Oh, yeah, from the
Lions.
Who was that?
I forgot the name
Kennedy.
now.
Tom Kennedy is the guy I'm talking about. And then from the Packers standpoint, Dontavian Wicks had a huge game. Kristen Watson had a big play down the field, a 51-yard catch. Um, it just shows you how explosive the offense can be. Micah Parsons is an animal. I think he has 11 sacks on the season now, if I'm not mistaken, which is top five in the NFL. He's an absolute game wrecker. And like I said, when Jordan Love is on, and he wasn't even super accurate in this game, he just didn't make the mistakes. Right, he was only 18 for 30, but 234 and 4 touchdowns. And I believe two of those touchdowns came on fourth down, if I'm not mistaken. So just moving the sticks, holding time of possession. When they could be efficient on offense um, and score, that defense could hold it down. So Green Bay is definitely a live team, especially when Jordan Love looks this good. Standing at 8-3-1, only behind the Bears, really. So, which sucks for the Lions. It's going to be a tough path if they want to win that division, because I think that's a team that would definitely prefer to be playing at home.
The Lions?
Because Jared
Oh, for
Goff in the
sure.
cold,
Yeah,
no
for sure.
bueno. So
I mean, realistically, every team wants to play home, but I think what you're saying really is the Lions is at a disadvantage more than anything when they're not at home.
I think that anybody else, to be honest with you, it's just it's just not especially because if you look at the teams that they would potentially have to play, right? If they're the 5 seed, they will get the 4, and the 4 would probably be the NFC South winner. So I mean, if they go to play in Tampa, they'd be all right. But if Carolina somehow wins, Carolina in January could be cold and it's outdoors. It's just not. We all know Jared Goff's history outside. It's not great. So, um, curious to see what happens. It just continues to stay interesting. So let's move on to that second game. The game that if I was sports betting and I put money on, I would have been disgusted. And that's the Cowboys winning 31-28 over the Kansas City Chiefs.
Your
Man,
Kansas City Chiefs.
my Kansas City Chiefs, man, it's looking grim. It's looking grim, especially with the Texans' big win over the Colts on Sunday. Um, Now they jump in front of the Chiefs for a wild card spot. Of course, Denver continues to win. The Chargers continue to win. The Jaguars continue to win. Um, it's looking tough for Kansas City right now. In all reality, they probably need to win out and go 11-6 at the minimum, 10-7, and maybe get some help with the way things are looking to even make the playoffs. Now, if they make the playoffs, I'm cool. They're a live dog. A couple years ago, they proved they can go on the road and win. Not a problem. But you gotta get into playing the playoffs, obviously, and that's looking kind of spooky for them right now. Um, I'll let you go first though. Um, what do you think? Let me ask you this: do you think the Dallas Cowboys are a legitimate threat in the NFC?
A threat as far as what?
Well, one, to make the
Winning.
playoffs, but two, if they get in. Let's just say they get in, because they're not too far behind the Eagles. But let's say they get in as a wild card, right? How dangerous do you think that team could be?
Uh, I don't think they can go far. I know the
Really?
defense somewhat improved since they made those acquisitions with Quentin Williams and stuff, but their offense is scary. We already knew that, though. We knew that coming into the season. That's why we had Dak so high.
That's
When
a
you got
fact.
Lamb and you got Pickens and you got Ferguson, like they got offensive weapons. And I even when they played the Eagles, I'm like, all right, if they drop 30 points, I know they dropped what 24. They're tough because you got to score a lot of points, but that's the Eagles. So if you jump up, you know, and you make Hurts have to make those plays, I feel like you're in a better position. That's just the NFC East, but I think when you play the tougher teams, you got to have some balance. And if your defense is not playing at a level uh, where you're, consistently getting stops, I think it could be troublesome. But they're hot right now, so realistically, it's like with any sport. Once you get hot in that time around, like baseball in October, anything's possible. I just don't have a lot of faith in them because the overall team, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that's fair. I think what they were able to do against Kansas City was really impressive. Yes, they gave up 28 points, but really what stood out to me about their defense was Kansas City had the opportunity because Kansas City deferred. So they were going to receive the second half kickoff. And Kansas City also got the ball at the end of the first half, 2-minute situation to make something happen. And Dallas's defense didn't allow any points on those two drives, critical drives, right? End of the first
Mm-hmm.
half, first drive of the second half. And I thought that was extremely impressive. Kansas City is one of the better defensive units in the NFL. I think the seventh ranked scoring defense, and they were able to move the ball at will, like you said, Pickens, Lamb, Ferguson, but also Javonte Williams, who's been an incredible free agent signing for them. Their ability to run
Mm-hmm.
the ball and stay balanced has made that offense extremely, extremely, extremely dangerous. I think really the biggest blocker for them, because even you said it, they're hitting a high at a really good time right now. If you look at their schedule, the Lions, while it's normally a tough game, and it still probably will be, it's at home in Dallas. Um, the Lions are coming in injured and banged up, missing a corner, potentially no Amon Ra. Then they got the Vikings, the Chargers, who are tough out, and then they finished the season with two division games. I think their biggest problem is really what the NFC playoff picture looks like right now. I mean, think about this. So right now, it's the Bears. Here are the conference winners currently. The Bears, number one at 9-3. The Rams at 9-3. The Eagles third at 8-4, and the Bucks at 7-5. Right? Here's the wild card. 5 seed, the Seahawks at 9-3.
Mm.
The Packers at 8-3-1, and the Niners at 9-4. You need at least 9 wins to get a wild card spot. So they're most likely going to have to win the division to get in
Yeah.
because the NFC West is so tough. And that's why Detroit's playoff chances are kind of hard too right now because they
Yeah.
lost the tiebreaker. The good news is I'm not sure how that tiebreaker would work with the Packers because they tied with the Packers, but um, it's it's going to be real tough for them to get in. But I think they could make some noise if they get it because that offense is so potent that they have two true number ones on the outside. And you can't even if you double them. What are you going to do? Ferguson's going to eat up the middle. They're going to be able to run the ball effectively. And I think with the addition of Quentin Williams and Logan Wilson, their defensive has improved enough where it's not like we're just going to walk all over them. They could put up some
Yeah.
resistance.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. Even though I don't have much faith in Dallas, I wouldn't want to play them if I'm a playoff team with them coming in hot like this. Um, but to your point, it's gonna be very difficult for them to get in. I think the slow start is gonna ultimately hurt them. Now that you painted the playoff picture, um, if I'm teams playing the Cowboys though, I'll take them Ferguson going through the middle and having them run the ball because the big plays are like momentum changers, right?
They're
Like you make a
killers
big play, it kills the momentum, and then usually their big plays end up as touchdowns, which is even worse because now if you got to play from behind, it makes it a little bit more difficult.
for sure. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I know you played the game too. I mean, those big plays could be gut wrenching as a defense, but so can those prolonged drives where people just keep running the ball.
Yeah, but with the
First down,
prolonged
first down,
drives though, you
first
can
down.
you can you keep it close. You know what I mean?
That's true. That's a good point. Good
You
point.
keep it close. It's anyone's game at the end.
That's a good point. And you would trust, you know, your offense against their defense, probably, depending on
Yes,
most teams would,
yes.
anyways.
Especially a
That's fair,
playoff team,
for sure.
unless it's the Eagles.
All right, so let's honestly, that's probably how they're gonna have to get in. They're only one back in the loss column. They just have that tie. Um, let's shift to the Chiefs now, real quick. So obviously a tough loss for them. One, I mean, neither team could really afford to lose the game, but it definitely hurts Kansas City. Like if we look at the AFC playoff picture right now, um, the
Denver.
Chiefs, the Chiefs t- right now sit at 10th. So they'd be the third team out. They sit behind the Texans, who are 7-5. The Steelers who are six
Damn.
and six, and then they're also 6-6.
Yeah, they're all set.
Now it's a little bit friendlier It's a little bit friendlier in the AFC because all of the wild card teams have 8 wins, and there's none that have 9. And they still have a game against the Chargers. They beat the Colts, so they own that tiebreaker, but they did lose to the Bills, which is a tough one. So they, and then of course, the division leader in the AFC West, the Broncos, have 4 games on them, and that's that. I mean, the Broncos would have to absolutely collapse, which I don't think either of us see happening. Do you
You
think
know the
Kansas City has
Broncos?
a chance?
No. Well, they got a chance to sneak in. Yes. Not winning. They're not winning that division.
Oh
But I
no, no,
told you that.
division
I
is.
told you that 8 weeks ago.
No, you did. No, to your credit, like I'll take the field. I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
um, I took the odds on that one. That's like
That's a
saying
smart
Drake
bet.
May is gonna throw for 50 yards type shit.
No, that's a smart bet. That's how people make money.
Um, yeah. Obviously, they could sneak in tighter race on the in the AFC, and it's very difficult to count out Mahomes. He's that great. And like you said, their defense being a top 10 defense, they still have a chance. Um, Here's I got a question. I know Herbert broke his left hand, which is his non-throwing hand, and I know he was talking about playing. Right, that could be an impact because they got to play the Chargers another time, don't they?
They play everybody in the division one more time.
Yeah, that'd be tough. But they Chargers also getting Hampton back soon,
I think
if
he's
not
playing
this
this week.
game, this week. Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. I don't know. I kind of want the Chiefs to get into the dance because they always make it interesting. And like you said, like you doesn't matter what seed they are, you can't ever count them out. So I would like to see them in there just for entertainment purposes. But even then, I it's hard to trust them with a lot of the way they've been playing throughout the whole season. Now, granted, Rice has been gone for what half the season at least, so
Hmm.
that hurt. Did you know? Here's a fun fact or stat. You know, Rashi Rice has I think it was either the same or a little bit more than JSN since he came back
I believe that
for receiving
he's been
yards.
he's been incredible.
So obviously they still got some dangerous weapons going into it, but that's tough. I like the Texans too. So they're 10. You said they're 10th, right, in the AFC?
They're behind the Texans and the Steelers, but the tied record, I think the Steelers just have a tiebreaker because of
Oh, they're
common
behind the
points.
Texans and Steelers. Oh, they'll
Yeah,
get in.
no, but they're 2 games out of seventh right now. Everybody has 8 wins minimum. That's in the playoffs right now. So here's their remaining schedule. I personally think they're gonna have to win out. Right? I think if they lose to the Texans, it's over. That's who they got on Sunday, Sunday night football. If they lose to the Texans, the dream's dead. You're cooked because that's a tiebreaker that you need because Houston's fighting for a playoff spot. You lose to the Chargers the week after that, I think you're cooked. That's another team because then they would have swept the season series. Obviously, you got to beat the Titans, Denver, and then the last game's at Vegas. So you'll see where everything lands, but you're probably gonna have to win that game too. I think they got to go 5-0 in that stretch.
Yeah, I think you're right, and I think that if they lose to either the Texans or the Chargers,
They're chopped.
yeah, either one of those losses gonna be. It's gonna take. When I hate when they do this because it's super confusing. When it gets to like the final week, they're like, this team has to lose, this team has to lose, this
Yeah,
team has to tie. It's like,
yeah.
bro,
It would
at
be
that
one of
point, just
those.
call it a day.
It would be one of those scenarios
Yeah, for sure.
that that would need to happen. Um,
But even if
the
they went out, it could potentially be one of those scenarios, right?
I mean, yeah, because if they went out, well, if they went out,
Well, Chargers will lose and Texans will lose, so that will hurt them.
they'd be ahead of the Texans. Because even if the Texans win every other game, they would tie, but the Chiefs would have had the head to head.
Got you. So really, Sunday night is their playoff game
They would need the
in a
Chargers to
sense.
lose. They would need the Chargers to lose a couple too, or the Bills to lose a couple, but mainly the Chargers because the Bills already beat them head to head, or the Colts. They would need the Colts to lose. which is very possible. The Colts are kind of in a downslide. I think they've gotten away from understanding that Jonathan Taylor needs to rush for 100 yards for them to win. That's their win condition.
Mm-hmm.
He's rushed for under uh he's rushed for under 100 yards 4 games this season, and they've lost every single one of those games.
Well, we
So
said
that
that.
is the kid.
We said that.
That's
And
true.
that's why when everybody was talking about Daniel Jones MVP, I'm like, yeah, no.
Had to be JT. Had to be JT. All right, we'll move on. I want to just really, really, really briefly touch upon the Bengals Ravens game. Because the Ravens, I think they're still in first place. They are still in first place in the AFC North, even though they lost the game. But I want to talk about this because the Bengals are still technically alive for that division now with Joe Burrow coming back. And obviously the Steelers, Rodgers is hurt, it seems like everywhere. And they just look terrible. The Ravens, even though they've been winning games, they haven't looked like the Ravens that we're used to seeing, just dominant. Lamar running all over the place, flinging the ball around the field. Derrick Henry looking incredible. Um, do you think there's a chance that Cincinnati wins that division?
How many games back are they? One?
2. I'm gonna pull up schedules for you too, real quick. They play. So here's the thing, right? They still have one more game against Baltimore in week after this one, December 14th. They play the Bills this week, so they'd obviously have to win. I think they're gonna have to win pretty much maybe not have to win every single game. A losing record might get it done in this division. That's how bad everybody's been. But they still get another shot at the Ravens. And they split with the Steelers. And so after the Buffalo game this week and the Ravens game next week, they have Miami, Arizona, Cleveland.
Oh, shit.
Now that Miami game's in Miami, but Arizona and Cleveland are both at home.
Mm.
And then for comparison,
I would say, yeah.
Let me give you Baltimore just for comparison.
I would say yes.
Baltimore still has 2 against the Steelers. They got Steelers and then the Bengals again. Then they have to play New England in Baltimore. Then they go to Green Bay and they finish at Pittsburgh. That's the Ravens' remaining schedule.
Damn, that's crazy. Cincinnati wins that division is wild.
Cincinnati wins that division would be disgusting.
Flacco earns another contract because he held it down. Yo, that's crazy. That's crazy work.
Let me just check the Steelers real quick. So 2 more against the Ravens.
Give me the Bengals, man. Give me the Bengals.
I like their schedule the most.
And Joe Cool Burrow coming back.
That would be disgusting. We talked about the Steelers having an all-time meltdown. That would be the Ravens also having a crazy meltdown. Like the Steelers are trying to give you the division. You come back, take it. Now you're trying to give Cincinnati the division. See, the thing is, Baltimore just has to win, and it's theirs, right? They're in the prime position. But with 2 games,
win out though, right? They not 1 game.
They're 2 games ahead, so they just have to finish 2 games.
I got you. Oh, so the Ravens, so Ravens not to lose. I mean, not to win 1 game is going to be very difficult. But I'll say this: I like the Bengals more than the Ravens, and that's because I can't recall 1 game this whole season where Ravens looked fantastic. There was one where Lamar went crazy.
The first game of the year.
No, not the first game. They ended up losing that. That was to the Bills, wasn't it?
They did, but
Lamar it was another game. I think it might have been I don't remember who it was. But Lamar was slinging the ball everywhere, and he looked really good, like moving around in the pocket, finding spots.
Cleveland, maybe.
No, it wasn't Cleveland.
Oh, Detroit. They lost.
Was it Detroit?
That was the shootout, 38-30.
It could have been Detroit. Mark Andrews signed his contract, so he might not give a fuck. He signed a contract today.
He's running it back. performance of last year's game against the Bills. He's dropping everything.
But like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's not a game where it's like Baltimore could win. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
like
They're not
based
gonna be
off of
heavily favored.
the performance. Yeah.
Like
And
and you look at
even those, like, it just look they don't look
they've
great.
looked. No, they
I think they
don't.
have the beneficiary of being in that division. I think if yeah, no, I like
It's
Cincinnati, man.
it's gonna be tough for them. It's gonna be tough for them. Like
If Ravens get in, I have no faith in them only because of their performances this season.
right.
But you know how I feel about Lamar. Like I love Lamar, so I think like you just don't know. Like he could turn that on one game, and then the next
Yo,
he's
that would be a crazy script. They flipped their whole franchises, kind of calling tag since Lamar's been the quarterback, which is crazy in the regular season and is shit in the playoffs. Now they're shit in the regular season and go crazy in the playoffs. That would be crazy.
yeah.
That'd be an all-time stunt. Listen, I fuck with that story arc too.
But all right, I just thought of something, right? Because I know that you said like until they really beat the Chiefs in the playoffs doesn't mean anything. Now, what if the Chiefs don't make the playoffs?
Oh, it's fair game. But the thing is, they're not the Ravens that we're used to seeing, to what you said. So I'm not sure how I'd feel about them. Same thing with Buffalo. Buffalo looks very vulnerable this year. Like, if the Chiefs don't make it, it's anybody's game. It's anybody's game if the Chiefs don't
It's
make
the
it.
Patriots.
I mean, that might be my favorite. Not because, they have the best record in football, but you made me a Patriots believer earlier in the season. So
When I brought up the
fortunate,
Forge in
I
Foxborough.
know I was shitting on you too. That's fucked up.
You know what I'm happy about because I just got the news probably that Monday night or Sunday night, which with actually it was that Monday that Will Campbell's injury is not season ending, so that's great news.
Oh, that's major. That's major for them. That's major for them. Yeah, I was. It's funny because my wife was watching the game too, and I'm like, you know what? I grew up hating the Patriots, but I'm like, man, it'd be exciting if they got back, made their run.
You know what it
Just
is for you? I
how
think that
intently I've been watching them.
yeah, because you appreciate Drake May, like you
Yes,
enjoy
I
watching
do.
him, you respect his game, so I think that's probably the main reason why you can get
100%.
behind New England.
And I like Vrabel as a coach. I like them in Tennessee. I mean, anybody, and this is no disrespect, but all disrespect is intended. Anybody that can get Ryan Tannehill to the AFC Championship game deserves something.
Mm.
Again, no disrespect to Ryan Tannehill, but I mean, take that as however you take it. Pause. I think Vrabel's a great coach, and I think McDaniel's being there is huge. I mean, I even saw an interview. They were playing an interview on ESPN before the game with Drake May, and he was like, you know how crazy it is when Josh is playing replays and I'm watching film and it's Tom Brady's the quarterback that I'm trying to emulate. I'm running
Yeah,
his offense. He's like, you know how crazy that is.
yeah.
I mean, listen, you're trying to emulate the GOAT, you might just turn into close to one yourself.
Little lamb, little
I mean,
lamb
listen,
chop.
little lamb
Yo,
chop.
do you
Listen, it
know
works.
why? Because I
Michael
don't know.
Jordan. Michael Jordan went to North Carolina.
That's true. That's true. Do you know why they call him Drake May?
Nah, I know it's like a meme type shit, but it's because
Is
he's
it?
him. I would imagine because he's him.
I don't know. I was curious. That was a genuine question. It wasn't rhetorical this time.
Because he's him, man.
I'm still
I, that's
trying to
the
find that one out.
that's the only explanation I got. Because he's him. He really is. I'm gonna check the MVP odds real quick. After I haven't checked.
He's got to be winning because I know Stafford struggled and they lost, right? Stafford threw like 3 picks, I heard.
Yeah, two. One was a pick six. Yeah, Drake made betting favorite minus 135. Yo, we should have put that shit in the season. $5.
I did.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
No, you
Actually,
didn't. You
I don't want to
you
check it
did
because then I got to get the
you
app again.
you did not put Drake May $5, did you?
I swear to God.
Yo.
And it was when the odds was like he wasn't even in the
And then
top
they
three
got,
candidate.
we this is the moment for our loyal listeners. Some of y'all remember last year when we was like we had the same conversation up when the Rams were in the shit, and we was like, yo, we should put $5 on the Rams to win the division. And then we
Oh
was
yeah,
regretting it. I'm like,
yeah.
that would have been one of the only bets we cashed.
I'm not. I didn't do it this time. I had to make a move.
Nah. I appreciate you for doing that.
You
All
live and
right,
you learn.
listen, match. No, that was your call. That was your call. So I'll give you credit for that one. Um, all right, let's talk about Friday night or Black Friday game. Bears at Eagles. Um, let me take let me take the Eagles angle here. They fucking suck. Their offense is awful. Their offense is terrible. In fact, terrible. And listen, all the Jalen Hurts lovers, I was a Jalen Hurt defender at minimum. Shit is bad. There's no defending it. Shit is bad. Shit is bad.
Yo, I seen that play where Ferguson. Oh no, excuse me. Goddard was he ran that seam route and the play was drawn up for him, wide open, and this doesn't even look at him.
Doesn't even see him. There was another shit because they're doing HBO the Hard Knocks in season, and they're covering the NFC East this season. And there's a shit from it where Devontae Smith, they ran a route, they got mixed up. Devontae Smith, he thought he was gonna sit, he ran like a little slant. Jalen Hurts thought he was gonna sit in the zone, but Smitty kept running. And if Hurts would have saw it, like saw what was going on and would have hit him, it would have been a walk-in touchdown.
Yeah,
But he threw it because he thought he was gonna sit, and then there was a whole clip where he was like, Hurts was like, fuck, man. Like you could
yeah,
just tell it's off. Their defense is playing well. I'll give their defense credit. Defense is playing really good. The trades that they've made, Jalen Carter is a stud. Jordan Davis is a stud. Defense is playing really well, but you can't have an offense that's that feast or famine and have any kind of Super Bowl hopes.
yeah. It drops your expectations.
And
But
just
we said that the Eagles are, overall has a good team.
the running game too is just
Yeah, Barkley.
non-existent,
I
man.
seen Barkley's ranked. This now, mind you, there's 32 teams, and now Barkley is ranked like 37th of running backs.
He's just it's not the same. Now the line play hasn't been the same, but he also hasn't been the same. Explosiveness is not there. I mean, you know, we talked about it last year. There was times where he'd be like 2-3 yards up the field before he first got contacted.
Yeah,
Now he's getting he must feel like he's back on the Giants because that's what it's looking like. Scatterboo was running better than him before he got hurt. Um, yeah, the vibes in Philly, and it's crazy because they're an 8-4 team, right? They're an 8-4 team in the playoffs, third seed in the NFC. But and so I know Philly fans be like, "Why are you talking about?" Listen, when you're the defending Super Bowl champs, coming off this shit talking parade, people expect stuff. And 8-4, with your offense playing like that, their offense is playing like the year, which was 2023 when they started 10-1 and just collapsed. That's how they're playing right now, offensively. That's how they're playing offensively right now.
it's like the looks. Like even on the play he missed Goddard, he threw it to Devontae Smith on a slant, and it's behind him. Like I don't know.
Yeah, it's just
It almost looked like mentally he's not confident, and mentally everybody else is checked out because they're like it's the same old shit.
I mean, AJ 8, so I'm happy about that. AJ
No,
8.
I know. I took a few beatings because I happened to go against them in the majority of leagues.
And on the one week he's not quiet, right?
Yeah,
So that was great. Let's flip to the Bears side of it. We kind of talked about the Bears a little bit because you said you would have picked the Bears, but um, Ben Johnson has done a really great job. Shout out to I know you were high on Ben Johnson. I was a little bit more skeptical. But what's really impressed me the most is their running game has been incredible. Monungai, who I was high on, drafted him in our dynasty draft, by the way. I feel really great about that. And Swift has been really good. 125 on 18 for Swift, 22 for 130. from Monungai, both with a touchdown. Golly, sorry about that.
It's getting hot in here, man. I'm talking all spicy shit about my people's Eagles. Now I got the heated fan on, so I apologize for that.
um, the Bears' rushing attack has been incredibly phenomenal. To see them really lean into it and not feel like, hey, we got this superstar or supposed to be superstar at quarterback that we picked number one overall. He needs to be at the star of the show. It's like, no, we have two really capable running backs who are running the ball really well. So we're gonna lean on our running game, which I think has been fantastic, and their defense has been super opportunistic, leading the league in turnovers. Um, they have they're plus 17 turnover differential. The next closest team's at 9. So almost
But
double the.
think about the running backs. What does that resemble to you? Obviously not
Oh,
as elite.
I got you saying, yeah. I mean Monty and this guy and Gibbs.
And Gibbs, yeah. Ben Johnson knows what he's doing, bro. They actually
Absolutely.
pulled up the stats of like Ben Johnson with golf in like the first same amount of seasons as Caleb, and the stats are very similar. Golf has success with them, so I just believe in that, right? I think that when you have great leadership and you're playing for somebody you want to play for, you'll dig deep when you need to, and you'll pull out those wins. So, credit to Chicago. Nobody really, Chicago came out kind of shaky at the beginning of the year, but they're finding a way. And that's another team. If you come into the playoffs hot, you don't know what you're gonna get.
One seed
Loveland
in the
obviously could
NFC
ball. That big win against Cincinnati. What was that? That was overtime or like right before overtime.
right before.
So yeah, I
It,
Chicago got weapons too.
they do.
I even like I receiver right. DJ Moore cooked up. Was it this week? DJ Moore cooked up or the week before?
I
I
believe it was the
apologize.
week
It's
before.
been pretty hectic
It was
for
the week
me.
before.
But but like that, even if it is that week before, right? He kind of had it's a quiet season for the most part for DJ Moore, but at one point it was a Dunze getting all the work. But you
He
just
was
can't.
eating.
You focus on one. It's kind of like with the situation with Pickens and Lamb, and I'm not comparing the 2 and 2, and I wasn't comparing the 2 and 2 with Gibson um, and Monty
No, but there's
too
similarities.
much. Yeah, there's similarities exactly. And then you got this coach that's phenomenal. Obviously, even when he was in Detroit, that's why he got the job in Chicago. Then you ultimately could be playing with fire. And I'm low key rooting for Chicago because my cousin's a big Chicago Bears fan, like huge, and my boy Will. And I know they faced some tough times. I remember. What was the kicker that missed that field goal against Chicago?
Oh man, what's his name? What's his name? What's his name? What is
I
his
guess it don't
name?
matter. But my cousin, me and
Was
my,
it
my
Cody
cousin and I,
Parkey?
we were on the phone when that happened, and he was devastated. I had to make sure he stayed on the phone so he didn't do anything drastic.
It's Cody Parkey. Yep. I remember that. They should have beaten the Eagles that year.
Yeah.
That was a famous double doink call. Um, yeah, no, Chicago. Listen, I think the the offensive game plan is exactly what it needs to be, and and that's why I kind of highlighted it a little bit earlier, where I'm like, yeah, you have a young coach and Ben Johnson for obviously first time head coach, first year as the head coach, and you have the number one overall pick from a year ago as your quarterback. And there could be a lot of pressure to be like, hey, we need to make sure that this guy is the star, that this guy is always the guy that's making us the plays, that's winning us the games. There could be some pressure to do that. And clearly he's like, no, the
Mm.
key to success here is we're going to run the ball heavy. We're going to run the ball heavy. We got two capable backs. And then we're going to let our offense evolve from that. That makes the play action extremely dangerous, especially when you got guys like DJ Moore and Roma Dunze, even Luther Burden. You got two really good tight ends in Loveland and Cole Komet that could work the inside of the field. I think they're doing it the exact right way. Inside out is the best way to play the offense, and that's what they're doing. And I think if they continue to run the ball well, it's only going to make the game easier for Caleb. And then we're really going to see what we saw at USC.
I
with
agree,
the big time throws.
and I like the old school way, right? Like you run the ball,
Yep.
and then take your shots when you get them. So I like
St-
that.
Stay ahead of the sticks. Second and six, third and manageable. Don't do so because it seemed like I'm not sure if you felt this way last year watching Caleb that he was just asked to do so much, like be Superman right away, and that's not the best way to win, especially when your franchise has never had a 4,000 yard passer. We know what the conditions in Chicago are like. It's not easy to
Yeah.
play there as a quarterback. Make it easy on your young quarterback, and Ben Johnson is doing just that. And so, like you said, credit to Chicago, and Ben Johnson is probably going to win Coach of the Year.
Over Vrabel?
Yeah, I think he's gonna win over Vrabel because everybody knows that Vrabel is a great coach. Which it should never work against him because he turned the Patriots around, but it will. It will. It'll work
Mm,
against you.
that's tough.
They're gonna favor the first time coach. Let me just see. Let me see what the coach of the year odds. Let me see.
That's tough.
Oh no, bro, I don't know. Vrabel's the favorite.
Come on, guy.
That's surprising. I'm not gonna
I
even
don't we
lie.
gotta be on the sports app to know that. It's
That's
Forged in
surprising.
Foxborough everywhere.
Four, four and five. I think that's maybe because the Patriots were so bad, but so were the Bears last year, right? But I mean, I would give it to Vrabel. I would give it to Vrabel.
That win, you know, I that win against Buffalo in Buffalo was huge, right?
Oh, I agree.
I actually watched a replay. It was Drake May when he rolled right and he threw it to Diggs on like Diggs wasn't even near the sideline yet. And the angle that they showed the replay was like, if you didn't
Ridiculous.
think he was special, then you must not have paid attention to that play at all. If you,
There's a
you
throw.
dissect it, like that throw was amazing.
We talked about it. We talked about the game.
No, I know.
And that was on the game winning drive, if I'm not mistaken, right?
I don't know if there's a game. No, I think you're talking about the one where he kind of threw it low and Diggs got to it, and he got and
Oh
Drake got
yeah.
hit.
I think that's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
I'll talk about the one that was like deep on the sideline in the corner.
Yes. Okay. Yep. 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 What are you showing me that? Oh, well, no, I like it. I appreciate it. Why you post? My wife is showing me a picture, by the way. That's what I'm looking at. She's showing me a picture of Devin Williams, who was the Yankee reliever. He signed with the Mets. So that's what she's showing me a picture. And she posted on the Infamously Speaking. Huh? Who is it? Oh, all right.
Infamous wife, infamous life. I love
Yep.
that. You know, and I'm happy that she posted on that because um, I realized we didn't post since my birthday on that page.
No, I'm not. Listen, man, as much as I love doing like what we do, I really don't like social media.
Yeah, me neither.
I really don't like social media. Let me. See, I kind of derailed me a little bit, but let's get back on schedule. We're already almost an hour into the show. Uh, I got to talk about this game. Okay, everybody knows the Rams. My NFC pick to win the to go represent the Super Bowl. I'm really high on the Rams. I think the Rams are phenomenal. But if they're going to lose one game, this would be the game. This was the game that I'm like, I'm cool if they're losing the Panthers, man. We talked about the Panthers a couple times on the show. Obviously, if you've been listening, you know I'm high on Bryce Young. I need him to be good because I traded away Matthew Stafford this offseason in our dynasty league, which obviously looks stupid. But guess who the better quarterback on the field was on Sunday? Panthers versus Rams. Just throwing that out there. This was a fantastic game for those that didn't watch. I mean, back and forth the entire time. Stafford, who hadn't thrown a pick in like 10 weeks, comes in, throws two picks. One's a pick six. And then Bryce Young, two times on fourth down, throws a touchdown. Just incredible drama. And then a forced fumble to end the game by Derek Brown, who's one of the best one of the better defensive tackles in the NFL. Huge win for the Panthers, who believe it or not, I think have two of the biggest, if not the two biggest, upset wins this season. They beat the Rams, and remember they beat Green Bay and Lambeau.
Panthers beat Green Bay and Lambeau.
They sure did.
Wow, I don't remember
Carolina,
that.
frisky. What week was that? Week 9. They won 16-13. This is exciting. Those are big franchise changing kind of wins, by the way, especially for a quarterback that people are like, they didn't make the right choice. CJ should have went first. He's winning some big games and he's playing well in the games they win, but he plays like dog shit in the games they lose. So that's the consistency is the next piece. But loved every second of that game.
I missed that game. I will say though, the criticism that Bryce was getting to me wasn't fair because similar to Stroud this year and last year, like the line work is everything when you're at quarterback. If you got no time, then what do you expect them to do at that point?
No effect. That's fact. I just think it's so here's a crazy stat. Believe it or not. And now the Panthers have played one more game. But Ted McMillan has more receptions and more yards and the same amount of touchdowns as Emeka Ibuka. Believe that. Crazy, right?
Yeah.
Because especially when you think about Ibuka's explosive start. Now, I know it's quieted down a little bit in the last couple of weeks, but his explosive start, now you're like, whoa, wait a minute. Those numbers are pretty close. Impressive stuff by Carolina's first-round rookie receiver.
Yeah.
Because Emeka's been incredible. Now, like I said, Emeka's played one less game. So Carolina's on a bye this week. He'll probably end up overtaking Tet in majority of the categories that he's not already. But they're having very similar seasons.
Yeah, I think you talked about it when we talked about like offensive rookie of the year with like Ibuka has Baker, who a little bit better than Bryce right now, right? You could say that.
Maybe not.
He also has
struggling.
weapons. He also has weapons aside him that doesn't necessarily mean he gets all the attention,
Right.
as an Ibuka. But with the injuries that the Bucks has faced, you kind of get to
been
see.
the guy.
Yeah, but I got him in a good portion of leagues, so it's nice to see him picking up towards the end of the year, especially touchdown wise.
I'm about to trade 3 first-round picks in our dynasty for Tet so I can get the stat.
Who got Tet? Do you know?
I think Tuto.
Tuto got Tet?
I'm pretty. Why you say it like that?
I faced Tuto in one of my main leagues with all the banners, the league with the banners, Ori's league. Shout out to Ori.
Mm-hmm.
And Tuto's out, so he could play spoiler because I lost the last 2 weeks because I haven't been able to set my lineup. Let me rephrase that. I could set my lineup, but I've just been occupied.
Come on, man. So here's what I want to say about Carolina. Real chance for them to make the playoffs, by the way. Absolutely real chance. Tampa has a better record. They're 7-5. Panthers, obviously 7-6. They still have both their games against Tampa. So this division is very much going to come down to the wire. And whoever wins those games, I think Carolina probably needs to sweep that unless the Bucks implode. Carolina probably needs to sweep that. They have a game against the Saints coming off the bye, which could be a good thing for them. Even though it's a divisional game in New Orleans, it could be a tough one. And their other game left is Seattle at home, and Seattle's actually been a better road team than a home team. So you might be looking at a 1-1 split between the Saints and the Seahawks, and then you got 2 games against the Bucks. So you probably got to win both of those games if you want to win the division.
How far back are they?
Just a half game. Bucks
just a half game is wild.
Insane.
Hopefully Carolina gets in.
And I believe, let me just look real quick. They are currently 2-1 in division play. And they got 3 more division games to go. So let me pull up Tampa's schedule real quick. Let's see Tampa's remaining opponents. Tampa got 4 division game. No, they got 5 division games left. No, 4. I'm bugged. 4. Saints, Falcons, Panthers, Dolphins, Panthers. So it's definitely going to come down to that. I think Carolina needs to go 1-1 in those 2 games, and then I think sweep the Bucks. That's probably how it's going to have to play out for them, or just win out, right? That's a lot to ask for. Oh man, exciting! I mean, I would love to see Carolina in there, only because they've proven they can beat anybody. That's the thing.
That's exactly what I was going to say. If they just beat the Rams, as hot as the Rams has been, they have a chance. Seattle's no joke, right? Seattle's a real contender.
Real team.
So that's a tough game, but it's possible. I'm sure beating the Rams is giving them some confidence.
Oh, as it should. As it should give you confidence. And remember, they beat Green Bay in Green Bay. So they should have all the confidence in the world. Now they've also gotten washed.
They beat Arizona. Oh no, they lost to Arizona, didn't they?
Yeah. Arizona with brisket is real.
Kyler was playing that game, I remember.
As far as the Rams go, they're gonna be all right. They're gonna be perfectly fine. I'm not really.
I think Tom Brady put him 6 in his power rankings.
Yeah, that's a ridiculous drop for them. They're gonna be fine. Matt Stafford was due for a bad game, and he had it, and they still almost won. I think they're gonna be just fine. Now listen, I think we just saw officially Bryce Young is a better quarterback than Matt Stafford, so my trade was good. For one day.
And Jalen Hurts.
I'll take that all day. Bryce Young. Easy. They should try to make the trade now while Hurts got some value.
You know Howie would do it.
Howie's a slime. Howie would definitely do it. Howie would definitely do it. All right, last game I want to talk about. And this was a crazy game, Sunday night game. Broncos at Commanders. Marcus Mariota turned the clock back, thought he was playing at Oregon again. It was phenomenal. It was a nail biter back and forth. Went into overtime. Denver marches right down the field, scores, kicks the extra point to go up 27-20. Mariota drives them right back down the field. Yo, what's going on with your mic, man? You rubbing the mic or something? I'm getting a lot of feedback.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, what were you doing?
There was Scooby's hair was on it, so I was trying to get it off.
Okay. Mariota, when they get their chance in overtime, drives them down the field against a really tough Denver defense. They convert on 4th downs, score a touchdown, go for 2, which I like, right? Go for the win. Your defense just gave up a quick scoring drive. After that time, it would become sudden death if they would have kicked the extra point. And Nick Bonito, who's been incredible for the Broncos this season, makes a great play on what would have been an open pass for them to win the game. Pass the ball down. Broncos win 27-26. Improved to 10-2, second best record in the AFC. I think second best record in the NFL in general. What's your take on the Broncos? They've been in a lot of these close games against teams that we might not consider good. But you can only play who you play, right? We're in a close game against the Giants, of course, this game. How do you feel about Denver?
I have mixed emotions. I know you can't stand Denver because of their offense. And I was watching, I forgot what I was watching, but Denver has been behind in every one of their games. And I believe out of 10 of those games, they only won by like 1 possession, right? So that's two folds of that, right? I think that goes back to perspective when we talk about perspective and how we look at things. Should they be blowing out teams or really handling the teams that we feel they should beat? Probably. But I think that when you win those close games, it gives you that confidence right? So if you go into the playoffs and you're down one possession or whatever, you still have that confidence. We've been here before. We've been here all season. So you're not really giving up, right? And you feel like you can make those plays that's going to get you that W. But at the same time, I don't see them doing much in the playoffs.
It's so this is I wouldn't say as reminiscent, but very close to that one year the Vikings had an incredible record. They won all those close games. I'm
Yeah.
not sure what year, and they ended up losing the Giants and Daniel Jones
Yep,
in the
I remember
playoffs.
that. Yep.
Now, granted, this Denver defense is much better than that Minnesota defense was. This Denver defense is incredible. Um, but that's the tough part of why are you in so many close games. Now, again, the Chiefs were in a lot of close games last year. They went all the way to the Super Bowl. Now that's different. They had Patrick Mahomes quarterbacking, and in the playoffs they really turned up.
Wow, that's the clip. Bo Nix, the next Patrick Mahomes.
Hell no, hell no. Their offense does just enough, and you know what? Like that could be enough. I think come playoff time, it's gonna be a little tricky for them. But the benefit that they have is that if they remain in the 2 seed or even take over the 1 seed, which doesn't seem very likely because the way the Patriots are playing, a lot of those games, at least two of the games are going to be played in Denver, right? Which is a huge boost. That's one of the toughest places to go and play because of the altitude difference. The noise level in Denver is insane. So, I mean, I was just listening to Peyton Manning talk about it on the Manning cast. That's where I watched the Monday Night Football game. He was like, we were always aiming to have those games played in Denver because you go play in Foxborough and it's game over. You have to go play in Foxborough. People don't win in Foxborough. So Denver's a tough place to play. So I think they have that benefit. And again, an elite defense. An elite defense.
Yeah, but how elite if you're always down? And like you said, Mariota just drove him down the field in overtime.
Mariota chopped him
Granted,
up, bro.
granted, they made the play at the end, but are they really that spooky?
The pass rush is spooky. Sertan is back.
I'm more afraid of playing the Texans.
That Texans defense is insane. I like that.
I want to
take
see
by
how.
you.
Thank
I
you.
like that take by you.
Thank you.
Wow, I like that take. That's hot.
I
That's a
you know
hot
I want to
take.
see how Stroud performs because he should be coming back this week. And again against the top 10 defense against a team that has to win with the Chiefs.
Stroud played last week too. He played against the Colts.
Oh, he did. Oh yeah, he did. Because I was like, damn, I could have put him. I told you my lineups been wild. My line, yo, I had Trey Benson in
Trey
like
Benson.
five lineups because
He's
it showed. You know why it showed like early in the week it had like a projected score for him.
mm,
So
this
I'm like,
guy's
oh, he's coming back.
this guy's hitting the optimize lineup button. just leaving
No,
it
I
alone.
didn't. No, if it was optimized, they wouldn't have put him in. I didn't
Um,
even do that. Like that's how busy I've been. I haven't even been able to hit an optimize button.
that's crazy. Yeah, Denver. They're a tough team to gauge.
I'm not gonna put it. This is what you just did, so I won't do this. I would never. I would never put the game or pick a game based on where they play. Maybe Seattle, but not now, right? We talked about that.
Better
like
on the
12 man
road.
had to be, yeah. But I just won't. Even Foxborough, I won't. It's just
It matters.
it's in between the lines to me.
For 100%. But it matters. Listen, I'm sure you've seen the clip before because I think they've said it on multiple occasions. At least Peyton has, where he's like, "Listen, when he used to be on the Colts, even when he was in the Broncos, because they played the Patriots every year when Brady was there, he's like, whoever won that game, that's where we were playing the AFC Championship game."
Yeah, but I don't think that. I mean, I guess maybe give the
That's
players some
real.
confidence because you're in front of your crowd. But even then, I don't think. I think if Brady goes to the Colts those same years, it's the same outcome, and with the same defense. I think it's the same outcome.
I think certain teams are different, though. I think certain teams are built
Even
different.
as a Patriots fan, it's like I don't think I contributed to that win. You know what I mean?
No. I'm not even saying, but there's also something about not having to travel, right? Being at home. There's something to travel.
If
All that
travel's the
matters.
reason why you're losing, what are we doing?
No. It's just all the little things that give you an extra edge. That's it. It's not the reason why you lose. But communication's a big deal too. You don't have to do silent counts. You don't have to worry about any of that kind of shit. You know what I mean? You don't have to put in extra wrinkles.
That's fair.
You know,
that's fair.
One false start derails a drive. That could be the whole game.
Yeah, that's fair. I respect that.
So,
Chiefs is a tough stadium. They say to play at. You see what happened when New England went there.
They got extra reps
with Tom. Oh my, we're not doing that. You talking about extra reps with Kansas City is wild work.
Wow, shout out to our guy Boog in the chat. Question.
Boog?
In the chat. Say he has a question for us. He asked his family the other day. They didn't have an answer. Who's the best overall player in the league right now?
Overall in the NFL?
Right now.
That's tough. That's a tough question. That's a great question, too. Shout out to Boogavelli. That's my guy, Boog.
Really crazy. It's Boog. I'm not gonna give his government.
No, you don't gotta give his government. The best player in the league. I would have to say probably Jonathan Taylor, bro.
Nah. Myles Garrett.
Oh.
Myles Garrett. Was it 18 sacks now? Or is it 19?
Yeah, Myles Garrett is a real good one, too.
This season right now, he's been playing on a whole different level than everybody has. And
yeah, but I think the difference between Myles Garrett and Jonathan Taylor is this. Myles Garrett could potentially, and I'm sure he's not doing it every play, but he potentially has one-on-one matchups more than Jonathan Taylor.
Potentially.
I think if you put Myles Garrett, you know how they do those drills? I forgot what the drill's called.
Oklahoma's?
Yeah, the Oklahoma's with Myles Garrett versus Jonathan Taylor. I'm taking Jonathan Taylor.
I'm not. No, I'm taking Myles Garrett. I was gonna say one-on-one matchup. Who are you taking more often? I'm taking Myles Garrett.
I'd like to see that. They should do that
at the Pro Bowl game.
It's like the All-Star weekend right there. You do that shit.
You're gonna be insurance company's gonna be knocking on the door.
I'm curious is Boog still here?
Yeah. Well, maybe.
Boog.
Let's ask him.
Yeah, just put. So, Boog, if you're still here, who did your family say, or did they didn't get an answer? I'm sure someone had opinions though. There's probably a bunch of opinions flowing around.
They're probably throwing out quarterbacks because quarterbacks have the most impact on the game because they touch the ball every play. But I'm just thinking about like the most dominant player that this season right now has been Myles Garrett, bar none.
Yeah, he should break the record.
But also that I think he leads the league in tackles for loss. So he's also impacting the run game in a big way.
That's why, like in the whole NFL, I feel like that's difficult to answer. Because with both sides of the ball. Like the NBA, you're playing both sides of the ball. You know what I mean?
Right. And I think your mind.
So if you had to pick an offensive player, don't just say exclude Jonathan Taylor, because that's my pick. We'll pick different picks.
Sure.
Who would you take?
Okay. So JSN definitely gets a vote. Again, I'm only basing off of right now because it's gonna be this season. I'm not, and then Drake May got to be right there too.
Drake May's nasty.
This is forgetting. He's saying right now. So this is not what they've done in the past. This is not right now.
Yeah.
You only can take what they've done this season. I mean, JSN has been incredible. Drake May has been disgusting. Leads the league in passing, MVP favorite. And remember, he's not doing it with all world. I mean, it's obviously it's all world talent because they're in the NFL, but he's not doing it with all pros on the outside or all pro tight end.
You know, I'm glad you mentioned that because my brother hit me up. My brother's been ecstatic to see the Patriots winning. Shout out to Adam. And I was telling him like, yo, you know what's most impressive with Drake May is not even just like what he's been able to accomplish, but what he's been able to accomplish with what he has. So like,
Yes.
you know, he doesn't have all these studs, right? So that's a very valid point. It's funny because my brother's like, yeah, but they're playing so great. I'm like, yeah, but a lot of that is contributed to what Drake May's doing. If Drake
Yes.
May's not there, you're not saying Hunter Henry's disgusting. You're not saying Booty's disgusting. You know what I mean? Even Kyle Williams had a big play.
Well, knowing him, he's definitely not saying booty's disgusting.
That's true. Yo, he reposted some of his memes, which I won't say on here.
Shout out to Adam.
He reposted some of his memes that he like. You know how like I guess there's like the memories of like 5-6 years ago. I'm like, this guy's he don't give two fucks about what he puts up there. Yeah,
Good for him. Live free.
shout out to Boog, man. Boog,
Great question.
appreciate you tuning in, man.
Great question, by the way. I'm curious. I'm gonna put this out there to our audience right now. Who do you feel is the best player in the league? Quan said JT, Jonathan Taylor. I got Myles Garrett. Let us know, comment section below, who you got. And we'll respond.
I'll say that like your pick is not bad at all. In fact, it might even be a little bit better than mine because he is having a all-time great season. But I like JT, man. I don't think the Colts are anywhere close to where they are without JT. The Browns are still a struggle.
I don't think the Browns have a single win without Myles Garrett. How about that?
No, I don't know about that.
They're terrible. They are
But
terrible.
Other than I won't say other than, but I don't think he's making an impact on the game where it's resulting to wins and losses. Think about the Patriots. He had a hell of a game against the Patriots.
I mean, still lost.
Yeah, it didn't contribute to anything.
So, I mean,
as far as the win column.
So, let me ask you this. And real quick, Bug responded. They said they couldn't pick because there's so many different roles. I mean, it seems like a little bit of a cop out. I think you should apply a little bit more pressure, but no, I mean, they're right.
Bug, you let him. Bug, once again, you let him take the first no. Bug, we talked about that. We talked about that.
Coaching convos is real. No, I would just say this. I would say, so to be the best player overall in the league, because your team isn't great, you can't be considered in that.
That's valid. That's valid.
That would eliminate a lot of great players from even getting the shot.
That's valid.
So,
I'm just
like when the Broncos were shitty, Pat Surtain was still probably the best corner in the league. But because they're shitty, you can't be the best corner in the league. You know what I mean? I just think it's hard because football is such a team game.
I think if you're the best player, though, your impact is greater, and as far as like the overall, right? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm curious if I'm curious. So in baseball has a stat called WAR, right, which is wins above replacement, which kind of shows like your total value of compared to the average player at your position. I'm curious if football has a stat similar to that, like average wins added or whatever, to see if there's something that exists like that.
That's a really good question.
There is a value career leader. Good. Are you good?
No, it wasn't a great question from me to ask. Because JSN is having a great year and they're winning.
They got Pro Football Reference, which is has a whole bunch of stats on it. They have an NFL approximate value career leader, which is pretty much the higher your approximate value is, the better you are. Obviously, number one is Tom Brady at 326. Drew Brees is next at 277. That just shows you the difference. But they have some defenders on here, like Reggie White's at 8, 231. Ray Lewis at 224. So
Can
I'm gonna
you
see if I
filter that? Could you filter that to like this year?
I'm gonna see if I can filter that down a little bit. All right, 2025 NFL leaders right here. Let me see if I can find that stat.
That's fire. Book, look, you got us working now, Book. I like this. Book be tuning in. Shout out to D too. He's a big Eagles fan. He has the biggest hat in the world.
I'm
Shout out
trying to see if
to
I go.
he's trash at Warzone.
I don't see it. I don't see it on this. If I can filter it to this season, I'll have to come back on that because this is the first time I've ever looked at this report before, or this like the stat shit before that specific stat. But I'll come back and see if I can filter it down to this season and see where things lie. Not even to say that that's perfect, right? Because I feel like everybody's gonna have their own opinion on, like you brought up, and I think it's a valid one, right? Impacts on wins and losses is a big one. I think some positions are inherently going to have more opportunity to impact wins and losses. But I think Myles Garrett is individual season. He's definitely having the best one, I think, out of anybody.
So that question actually brought me to this question for you, Matt. Is how do you feel about when the NFL always does well, the players rank the top 50, I think it is, or top 100.
Top 100. Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about that?
I love that. I think there's no better ranking than a ranking made by your peers because they know the ins and outs. They know the grind. It's almost like when we talk about at work, like the power of peer feedback and peer recognition is way, it gets people going. It gets people to believe. It gets people bought in way more than if a leader was to talk to you, because that person who's your peer knows exactly what the grind is, right? So when players rank it, they know the grind of an 18-week season and potentially more if you make it to the playoffs. They know the grind of a training camp. They know the grind of having to do everything that entails to being an NFL player. And so when the people are taking the time and voting on it, I think that's that's probably the best ranking or truest ranking you're gonna get. I think it's better than a bunch of analysts or
because
writers making it.
They're literally they're in the trenches. Yeah.
Right. I might not agree with it, but I think their opinion is more valid than mine. They're playing the game.
Yeah.
I mean, that is what it is.
I feel the same. I was just curious on what your take was on that. What are you sipping, by the way?
Eagle Rare.
I should have knew that. Yeah.
Come on, man. I really don't drink much else.
I put you on the Eagle Rare.
No, you did. No, you did. Listen, I'm not taking that away. All right. So we talked about all of the. This is a little bit of a longer show, but actually, I want to shout out my guy Joel because he also hit me up. He's like, man, I noticed that you guys had a little bit of a no uploads. I was wondering what was going on, and I'm like, yeah, I was in Connecticut. He's like, oh, okay, yeah, okay. So I appreciate you. We got Bug in the chat. I got people at work saying, hey, where's the show at? So I hope you guys appreciate a little bit of a longer episode this time, because it's good to be on the mic and really just to dissect some of this stuff. So actually, let me do this first real quick before I do the power rankings. That's everybody's favorite subject. In fact, my guy Joel's like, hey, you gonna do another power rankings? Can't wait to see what you got going on. So just so you know, highly
he likes
this segment.
He likes to laugh.
Yeah, probably. That could be too.
Shout out to Joel for loving entertainment.
Before I get into it, because you talked about feedback, and I wanted to, it might diverge a little bit, but I think this is good. So I saw this post a little bit earlier in the day, and it was, sometimes in the NBA, they do those like anonymous surveys and people give feedback and say some kind of backhanded shit. So they're talking about Ja Morant. They talk about Ja Morant. They talked about
like this.
Trae Young. They talked about LaMelo Ball. All polarizing guards in the NBA, of course. When they're on, they're fantastic, but they have their pros and cons. So I'm not going to get into the exact comments. You can go see the post. It's on ESPN's Instagram page. You can go and find it. But there was a lot of people in the comments, and I'm someone who likes to read comments. Um, about like, and there's some celebrities in here. I mean, some
It
people
must
you
be
know.
nice to have time to read
Here we
comments,
go.
man.
So I mean, Jada was in the comments. Everybody's talking about how these GMs they were saying some stuff and like dudes are being haters, right? Guys are haters. Why are they saying stuff like this to hurt players' values, especially if they're gonna get traded or whatever? And so I'm curious where you kind of fall on it because let me read one of the comments just so you kind of get an idea of some of the things they
This
were
is a
saying.
comment from just regular people, and
So this is they're anonymous. So this is an anonymous Eastern Conference executive talking about John Morant. He's a
okay.
pain in the ass, injury prone, and not that good anymore. That was one comment. Another comment was Ja's been going down. I don't know how much of that is due to motivation. You got to be able to look under the hood. Not sure it's just about his health. Um, Something about LaMelo. No one's ever questioned his talent, but he's just so unserious. Can't trust him in the playoffs. Look, he takes the same shots now that he took in high school. And if you ever watched those LaMelo Ball high school clips when he's at Chino Hills, he was pulling up from the parking lot. And saying he's still taking those shots. They talk about Trae Young, too much of a liability on defense, right? So pretty shrewd, harsh comments, but not all of them necessarily wrong, right? Like Trae Young is a liability on
At
defense.
all.
That's
No, they're not wrong at all.
so I'm curious because a lot of the comment section was like, "Yo, that's hate. People are hating." I'm
That's
curious where you
corny.
stand on that.
That's corny. People saying that, and now we're in the bag, right? So when they say that, and I get that a lot too when I'm up front and I say my opinion, but that's my opinion. You take it as hate because you have a difference in opinion. If you didn't have a difference in opinion, you're not gonna say that's hate. You're gonna
Right.
agree on it and be like, you're right. Now, if they were saying things that maybe weren't true to fact, then I guess you could probably chalk it up as hate. But I didn't hear one thing that was off with those comments. Now, granted, I know you mentioned like the contract talks and the trade talks, but the same comments you said is similar comments I've heard in the barbershop. I've heard with Boog. I've heard amongst other people that I know. Now, granted, we're not in that same level as far as execs and players or
Scouts and
whoever
shit.
else, right?
Right.
But they're seeing the same thing we see. Sometimes, LaMelo Ball, he doesn't look like he's taking the game serious. I said it. Ja has all the talent in the world, but what does that matter if he's not on the court?
Yep.
Now, granted, yeah, like the other comment said, we gotta look what's under the hood. There's obviously some rift between him and that ownership or that team because of things that had transpired throughout the season. But I don't look at those comments as hate. I think that people that do that is the same people that look for reasons to cancel or other shit where it's like we call a spade. And that's why it's infamously speaking, because we'll say what it is. That
Yeah.
doesn't mean we're hating. I guess you could say I kind of hate on Hurts because I bring it up so much. But realistically, the shit
It's
that
not
I
a
bring up,
kinda.
but realistically, the shit that I
No,
bring
it's
up
real
is
shit.
true.
That's what you're seeing. That's what you're seeing. And
That's
you
why I
know
tell
what?
Gmo. And a shout out to Gmo. I love Gmo. But it's nothing I'm saying that's not factual.
Unfortunately, it's coming. It's coming. Pause. It's coming to fruition. Um, and it's happening, right? We see it. We see it unfolding week after week after week after week. And so it's like, damn, shout out to you. Shout out to Dante. Y'all was on it early. And of course, everybody deemed y'all as haters, and now it comes full circle. But I'm in agreement with you. I think just now you talked about it from the outside perspective, and I love that. I'll talk about it if I was a player, and I'll even talk about it as an individual, right? Because I'm someone who's received a lot of feedback, from you and from other people. Is if you was giving me feedback, I could take it as hate, but then I'm never gonna grow if I just say everything. Say, yeah, what are words kind of harsh? Sure, but sometimes you need a reality check. Sometimes you need a sledgehammer to kind of knock you over the head and stop your nonsense. And that is what it is. If you take everything as hate, you're going to just leave it at there, and you're going to leave the valuable feedback that was attached to what you perceived as hate, and you're never going to grow. You're never going to get better. I mean, at the end of the day, you want to have a long NBA career. Or if you're, even if you're not in the NBA, right? If you're in sales like I was, or if you're doing anything, you want to have a long career. You want to be successful, and feedback is something that's critical. Just because you don't like the way that it's worded or it's delivered, you can have a conversation about that. But to completely ignore what you were told because you don't like the way it sounded is immature, is what it
I think
is.
that says more about the person who's getting that feedback.
I mean, no, we talk about delivering. The way you deliver feedback is important. Like, the message doesn't need to change. The delivery is important. But I agree with you. Like, if you want to grow, you got to be able to you got to be able to be like, yo, fuck the way that it sounded. The message is probably true. Something, because you also have to, the way that I looked at it is this too. And I forgot who told me that. It might have been you. It's like, yo, this person is taking time to first watch you carefully, and not everybody carefully inspects, but obviously NBA scouts, executives, they're taking the time to carefully inspect and watch you play, watch your games, watch the way you move. They're taking the time out of their lives to watch you do this, and they're providing you feedback. They didn't have to. They could have just shut up and let you go about your business, and you be out the league in a year or two. I'm like, all right, it is what it is. Be grateful for the feedback. Be grateful for the feedback. Don't look at everything as hate. Even if this shit sounds terrible, there's some truth in that feedback. Usually, some people are haters. I won't lie, but not everybody is a hater. Like you said, now you have to look at your outlook. How can everybody be wrong and you be right? That's not how the world works.
Wow. Thank you for tuning in to Infamously Speaking. Now we don't
Gotta,
have to listen to Matt's terrible power rankings.
this is the only thing I won't take feedback on. Fuck the feedback. But I wanted to bring that up because I thought it was interesting, because I think there's two trains of thoughts there, right? It's you could look at it as hate, or you could look at it as, you know what? Maybe there's like you said, there's some truth in that. Maybe the way
No,
it's worded is shitty, but it is what it is.
I think that also goes to like what I talked about. I've been talking about it a lot lately, actually, which is perspective. It's your perspective on things. You can, if you're looking at it at just your perspective, I think that I wouldn't say you're at fault. I think that you're not doing yourself the justice of like, all right, let me try to look at it at that perspective and see where they're coming from and see where they see the disconnect that I don't necessarily believe in, and then find where the neutral ground is, and work on whatever the feedback is. But
Mm.
I, like I said, right, like I've been listening to a lot of positive stuff, which is funny because the perspective thing hasn't been one of those things. It's just something that I've been focusing on because um being around you, I get a negative perspective on a lot of things. So I try to stay to the positives now because Boog is a positive person. So.
I was going to say the same thing about you. It's crazy how you put that on me first.
See, it's perspectives. Again.
I'm starting with the man in the mirror. That's insane. Nah,
I
but
love
that's
this,
true.
man.
That's true. And you know what? I'll tell you this. Like, I talk about my pops a lot on the show. Shout out to my dad. One thing he taught me from a real young age is that your feelings could be your worst enemy. And oftentimes are, because it blocks you from so many shit. Because you get emotional, you get defensive, and everything else goes out the window. All your rational thinking goes out the window because you're like, you know what? Fuck what that person said. They just don't like me. They hating on me. They don't want to see me shine. When already, maybe the way they said it was rough, but they try to give you game. That's free game that they didn't have to give you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That is what it is. So you, like you said, it's perspective. How you choose to look at it. You could either be like, yo, it's hate, or you could be like, you know what? That person, even though the delivery was shitty, they're trying to give me game. And now I can either choose to apply it, or I could choose to just be like, fuck it. But listen, when an OG talks, you should probably listen to the OG. They got experience.
I got the perfect. We're gonna wrap this part of the show up with this, right? With perspective and just like look at Matt's picture in the background.
Which one?
LeBron.
This is gonna be fire. Go ahead.
But if you turn that picture slightly, you'll see the true GOAT. And it changes your perspective,
It sure
right?
does. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. One
Wow.
day I
I'm about
gotta
to
try
drop
to
the mic again.
one day I gotta try to fix that so you could see that it truly does show Jordan on the other side of it, so everybody at home can see that. Um, nah, I appreciate the conversation. I appreciate you allowing me to kind of break off a little bit right there. But now it's time for the most prestigious. I gotta put my glasses on for this.
Yeah,
Nostradamus.
don't do that.
Nostra-
You look like a gamer who wants to also play paintball.
Maybe I do. I've been diving into the books to make these power rankings.
Clearly,
Okay.
it looks
And
like you're about to read something for
studious.
like a year,
Does it make me look
nonstop.
smart? Does it make me look smart?
No,
All right.
no.
Well, what can that little prop then?
See, take a note. Matt was able to receive harsh feedback in the moment and apply it. You see that? You see how
Living
this
by
works?
example. Live by example. Okay, power rankings. Let's explain how this works. I'm gonna rank the top 10 teams. I'm gonna give you first. I'm gonna rank top 12-ish teams in the NFL. Tell you my thoughts about them, why I got them there. Again, these are not the standings. These are not 1 through 12. Let's look up NFL.com or open our local newspaper, wherever you like to get your sports. If you're looking at a newspaper, maybe update that, but it's okay. The internet exists. Some people aren't allowed on the internet, so I get that. Here we go. we'll, uh, we'll start with last week's list so we can see where things left off before, and then we'll start with this week's list. So here's how last week looked like. I'm gonna go from 1 to 10. Rams, Patriots, Seahawks, Broncos, Colts, Eagles, Chiefs, Lions, Bears, Packers. Now, as you know, the Rams lost this week. The Colts lost this week. The Eagles lost this week. The Chiefs lost this week. The Lions lost this week. So there's going to be a lot of shaking up in these power rankings. Like say, Matt, I thought these were foolproof power rankings. Hey, listen, even the GOATs miss a shot. Right? What did Wayne Gretzky say? You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Gotta take shots. Shots aren't go important. Okay. Now let's start with this week's power ranking. And this was a tough one. I'm gonna go with the first two teams out. Surprise, surprise, to find themselves outside of the top 10, the Kansas City Chiefs. I can't justify having them in the top 10 anymore. I can't. I was looking for every reason to put them in. I'm like, come on, top 10 scoring offense, top 10 scoring defense. But a 6-6 record and losing to the Dallas Cowboys. No disrespect to the Dallas Cowboys fans out there, but that's a bad loss. National television. This was your chance. You needed this game. This was a playoff game, and you lost. You're supposed to have this big bad defense. They were able to get whatever they wanted against your defense, and the Dallas defense was supposed to be able to get carved up. Was able to stop you on two critical drives. We talked about it earlier in the show. If you missed that, go ahead and rewind. Chiefs find themselves outside of the top 10. Breaks my heart to say it, but it is true. That's just how it goes. Okay. Other team outside the top 10 might be a shock, might not be. Indianapolis Colts. I think they've been found out. We talked about it last week. Jonathan Taylor doesn't rush for 100 yards. That's only happened 4 times this season. All 4 games they've lost. That is the formula. Don't let JT eat. Quan's been saying it ever since Daniel Jones' name has been brought up in MVP conversations. See what happens when they take away Daniel Jones. See what happens when they take away Jonathan Taylor. Team becomes mid. Team is mid when Jonathan Taylor doesn't rush. That is not, and their defense isn't super dominant either. That's not a successful a formula for success. Colts outside the top 10. Okay, number 10. And this was a tough one for me because I have no idea how I feel about any of this. But I do want to leave this team in because I believe in them. Even though they lost, and it's a tough loss. But I believe in the culture.
The Lions.
The Lions, yes, 100%.
I knew you was going there.
I know Amon-Ra is probably not going to play tomorrow night, and that's going to be a tough look for them. And I just talked about if he doesn't play, it's going to be really tough for them. But
Who
Coaching
they
matters in
play?
this league. They're playing Dallas, and they're playing Dallas tomorrow night. That's a
If they
Thursday
could
night game.
pull out a victory against Dallas right now, that says a lot, especially without St. Brown.
Absolutely. But they still, I think, have enough offensive firepower, especially with the two
For
running
sure.
backs in the backfield. Tesla, like you said, look for
Jameson been
him.
balling too.
Yep. JMO had a big game in the absence of Amon Ra. So look for that. And they still have enough on defense. Let's see what happens without Terrion Arnold. But I still like Detroit's offense a lot. I think they have enough to get it done. Number 9, this might be a surprise, but Quan, you were right on the right track when you were talking about this team earlier. I also believe in them. I got the Houston Texans at number 9. I think this team is going to win the AFC South, not the Colts, not the
Mm.
Jags, who are currently in first place. That defense, best scoring defense in the NFL, right there, you're looking at them, the Houston Texans. Best pass rush duo in the NFL with Will Anderson, Danielle Hunter, Derek Stingley's an elite cornerback. The offensive line figuring out kind of how to pass block, believe it or not, that's big time. Um, Jaden Higgins is getting more involved. Nico
Mm-hmm.
Collins is rounding into form. Dalton Schultz is still there. They're playing really well. And with a defense like that, we talked about it with Denver. You give your offense enough opportunity to score, and they will. They had a great win against the Colts last week, the week before, a great win against the Bills. So they're knocking off some of these big teams in the AFC. I like Houston at number 9. Number 8, this was a tough one, but I got to put respect on the San Francisco 49ers sitting at 9-3. Robert Saleh has that defense playing at an incredible level with no Fred Warner, with no Nick Bosa. Christian McCaffrey, he could have been in the best player in the NFL conversation. He's an absolute stud. Kittle's been playing really well. They're getting healthier. Pearsall's back. Jennings has been playing well, even though it seems like everybody in the NFL wants to fight him. Don't know what's going on there. But they're a balanced offense. Purdy just has to cut down on the turnovers. They don't really need they don't need him to do too much like they haven't his entire career. Just play decent, don't turn the ball over. The defense is going to play well. Believe it or not, 3 9-win teams in that NFC West right now. Absolutely ridiculous. Number 7, and this is strictly out of respect for their quarterback and the fact that they have the best rushing attack in the NFL, the Buffalo Bills. Simple formula for them to win. Run the ball, drain the clock, and then when you need to, let number 17 go win you the game. That's the formula. When James Cook rushes for over 100, they win. Very similar to Jonathan Taylor. But of course, it's Josh Allen much better than Daniel Jones. I think we can all agree on that. Number 6, the Chicago Bears. I don't think they're the best team in the division yet. I think Green Bay is still better than them. But like we said earlier, they do 2 things very well that are really promising when you have a young quarterback. They get takeaways, lead the league with a plus 17 turnover differential. Next closest team has 9, right? So they're almost doubling up there. And also the second best rushing attack in the NFL with Swift and Monangai opens up things in the play action game so you can get those deep shots like you talked about. DJ Moore, Roma Dunze, and work in the middle of the field with your 2 really good tight ends. Pause. Number 5, Green Bay Packers. I'd have them higher if Jordan Love wasn't as inconsistent. They look almost unbeatable when he's on his game. When they're not, they're still tough to beat because of that defense. Michael Parsons is incredible. Rashawn Gary is really good. Secondary's playing really good. Xavier McKinney is a stud, former Giant. So I like Green Bay. I think they're going to end up winning that division. Number 4, I got the Denver Broncos. Even though they win 10-2, my only thing I could say about them: clutch defense, clutch offense. They score when they need to. They get it done. I don't like their offense, but they score when they have to get it done. Was able to do it against Washington again. The close games, the amount of close games does concern me. But to what you said, depending how you look at it, that could be a good thing, right? You know, you have that belief that you're always in the game regardless of how down you are. Number 3, got Seattle. They were 3 last week. Overwhelming defense, as we saw. Uh, Brosmer had really no chance this weekend. Tough game for your first NFL start ever to play that Seattle defense. I believe they had 4 interceptions. Was it four takeaways this week? Um, they're just overwhelming on defense and just the premier wide receiver in football right now. with JSN. And of course, their rushing attack's also really good with Kenneth Walker and Charbonnet when they get that rolling. Number 2, this is where we have the switch up. Rams dropped to number 2 because of their loss. Like I said, I'm not killing them for the loss in Carolina. Carolina's shown they can beat anybody. They could lose to anybody. So Matt Stafford had his bad game, got it out the way. You said it earlier. Sometimes it's good to get that loss out. That's probably going to be the loss that they needed to get out right there. They have one of, if not the best, wide receiver tandems in the NFL with Puka and Devontae, and that connection with Stafford's obviously there. And they, oh, by the way, they also have the number 2 scoring defense in the NFL. They'll be just fine. They're good. And of course, that means number 1, the New England Patriots. I mean, and my note for them was this, simply, especially if you watch the Monday night game against the Giants, but it's been true all season, elite in all 3 phases of the game. Drake May's the MVP of the NFL right now, so their offense is elite. Gonzo's the stud at corner. All of their offseason additions on defense are hitting. Milton Williams hitting, obviously, just great in all 3 phases. And then special teams, I brought up Marcus Jones, best punt return in the NFL right now. House, I think it was 92, 93 yards against the Giants on Monday night. Their special teams has been cooking all season long, giving their offense short fields on kick and punt returns, and also giving opponents long fields by pinning them inside the 20. New England at number 1. Those are your week 13 power rankings. I'll run it back for you. This is from 10 to 1. Patriots 1, Rams, Seahawks, Broncos, Packers, Bears, Bills, 49ers, Texans, Detroit Lions. Love it, right?
Detroit Lions. That is pretty good. Let me say a few things. One is I appreciate you for taking the time to do this, right? I know you this is like near and dear to your heart because, and I know this because when you came to the East Coast, you kind of like stood on business like, yo, I have the best power rankings in the world. And I love that for you. Although I disagree at times, this is a pretty good rankings list. There's some I'd probably change if we used to go back, but it's not about that right now. What it's about is you taking the time to really dissect why you chose who you chose. I know that's time consuming, especially with things that you have going on with work and family. So I respect that.
Now he's about to shred my shit apart.
No, I'm not. What I will say is this, right? I'll talk a little bit about the Patriots being number 1. It's not about the Patriots necessarily as it is about leadership. And when you have a great leader, how you can pull parts or different pieces that might not be the best at their positions. For example, Gonzo, right? Gonzo's great. Do you think he's the best corner in the league? No, you got Patrick Surtain, you got others, right? But when you can put the pieces together as a leader and inspire the others around you, there's no limit to what could be done. So I love the fact that you have a team, despite who they play, they're performing.
Absolutely.
And I think the great leaders pull that out of people and players when it comes to that perspective.
Let me ask you something real quick. Oh, one quick little nugget before I ask you the question I want to add. So if May wins the MVP and Vrabel wins the Coach of the Year, which they're both favorites right now, this will be the 13th time in the NFL history that's happened. Last time was 2019, Harbaugh and Lamar Jackson. So, I mean, that's pretty impressive. Wanted to throw that little nugget out. But I like what you said there about how they've played, because they could have. How many teams have we seen that we're like, man, it feels like they played to the level of their competition? Have you? I can't. Maybe the Bengals game where you're like, man, they're not really, but they ended up pulling away late at the end. Is there any time where you're like, man, I feel like they're playing down to their competition?
No,
I haven't felt that way at all this season. And like you said, that speaks to the leadership. That's Vrabel saying now, like, nah, this is the NFL.
It's little, or you think about like decisions that's made within the trenches, and I it's funny because I was the one who was like, it's what happens between the lines as far as the game, right, and the wins, right. Going back just to reflect not necessarily on the crowd noise and where you're at and the travel, but as a leader, it's the little things that makes a difference. I'll give you a prime example. I forgot. I think it's the New England Patriots. One of their social medias I was following. In every game, they show Vrabel, no matter what. Now, granted, it's been a lot of wins lately, 10 consecutive to be exact, where he's waiting as they come through the tunnel to go back to the locker room to give credit, show support, high fives, all that as they go back to the locker room. But that's a little thing that goes a long way, right?
Yeah,
Like my
absolutely.
coach acknowledges my contributions to the team. And it doesn't matter what position, what player, where they rank on the roster, he's there. And when you see a leader like that, you want to give your all, no matter what. Did you see with Chisholm? And I don't know how true it was because I didn't check where the report came from. But with Chisholm, who I'm high on, broke Cooper Cup's record out there, they was ready to part ways and let him go. And he's like, I'll take a pay cut to be a part of this team. Like this is a team.
Wow. Gee, that's crazy. You got a guy who's a stud in college. Ooh, it seems like, oh, we're gonna cut you loose, give you a chance somewhere else. He's like, nah, that's crazy. I want to do this real quick, little exercise, breaking down because a lot of people are talking about all right, the Patriots, who they play, the record, collective record. So obviously that week one loss to the Raiders is a tough one, right? But week one early in the season, I don't put too much weight into those week one games, right? I don't personally. They go play Miami and Miami, which is a place where the Patriots lose. They've lost a good amount of games in Miami, right? So they win that game 33-27. Lose to the Steelers in a game that they really should have won. They're just a lot of red zone mishaps.
Yeah.
Then they blow out the Panthers 42-13. And the Panthers, who can beat anybody, as we've seen, so that's a win. They go to Buffalo on prime time, Sunday Night Football. Or was that Monday night? Was that Monday night or Sunday night? But it's prime time.
Don't matter.
Either way, it's prime time. Win in Buffalo. They go to the Superdome. They beat New Orleans. They beat the Titans. Fine. They beat the Browns, who have the NFL, with the guy who's about to break the sack record. They beat the Falcons, who at the time had the number one ranked pass defense. Beat them, and Drake May cooks them up. They beat the Bucks in Tampa, who were scorching at that time. Beat them. Handled the Jets fine. Beat the Bengals, and then beat the Giants, who with Jackson, limit the Giants to 15 points, who with Jackson Dart was doing a lot of good things on offense. So that's the thing. You just look at the record, but you got to look at what were teams doing at the time that they played them. Do you all remember that Atlanta had the number one pass defense when they played them?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Does that means something? Do you remember that the Bucks were on a heater when they played Tampa Bay and they beat them in Tampa? That means something. Do you know that? Yeah, they beat the Browns and the Browns are bad, but they got a guy who's gonna break the sack record. That matters. Even though the Giants are 2-11, the Giants should have beat the Denver Broncos, who are right behind them. If they didn't just implode, they should have beat Detroit. If they did just, and those are teams that you respect. So, where was the energy for Denver? Where was the energy for Detroit? So those are some of the things I just remember that same stuff. Just because a team's record is bad doesn't mean that team isn't dangerous at the moment that they played them.
That actually leads me to this question for you. Do you think it's just hate because the Patriots has been so great for so long?
I think that definitely has
something. Because think about this. The 49ers had an easy schedule.
Yep. Buffalo too. Take out the Chiefs game. Buffalo played the Ravens, and the Ravens
Chiefs lost to Buffalo.
So just throwing that out there, like you can't just look at the record. You gotta look at the teams and how they was doing. They did it. So I know we talked about this ad nauseum, but I think sometimes we look at things too surface level and be like, oh, combined record is shitty. Atlanta had the number one pass defense when they played them. That doesn't mean anything now all of a sudden. And Drake May threw all over him. I mean, come on now. Let's you gotta talk about stuff like that. Even if I didn't have, even if we didn't put that futures bet on Drake May, I
You didn't
promised
even know
that.
we did.
No, I
Now
didn't.
that we know we did, now it makes sense why you got him ranked number one.
I did the ranking before we even hopped on.
That's my point.
Listen, man, we out here. Um, they're not gonna be a second show this week. I'm gonna be out enjoying my wedding anniversary. So no, we usually do Thursday, Friday. No Thursday,
There he
Friday
goes
stream.
bragging again.
Uh, Listen, shout out to my wife. She's held me down 8 years together, 4 married. Appreciate her. She's holding down the family right now, so I can go ahead and do this. It takes a village.
Yo, it's funny because I mentioned you in a conversation I had with someone who's
Dangerous.
it's no it's her and her husband, it's her husband's birthday, and they're new to the area, and I gave her a recommendation of Capitol Grill. I was like, yeah, my brother goes to Capitol Grill every time he comes here with his wife. I think that'll be a great place to celebrate.
You should have told them what they got to get. You could put them on. Tell them to listen to the show. This is what you got to get. You go to if you like seafood, the oysters on a half shell. If you like oysters, they're raw, but I like raw oysters. They're phenomenal. The calamari there is fire. Obviously, all the steaks are good. My wife usually gets the New York strip. I get the ribeye. Their potatoes au gratin or however you pronounce it. That's fire. The shrimp mac and cheese also tough. I
I think
recommend
that's what
that.
Boog said. I think Boog shouted out the shrimp mac and cheese.
Shrimp mac and
Yo,
cheese
I
tough.
didn't say that to go for you to go into a whole
And
Google slash
also,
Yelp review, bro. What are we
listen,
doing
you
right
said
now?
you was gonna. You said you was gonna start it
Yo,
up, but
you
we haven't
got a
seen it
better
yet.
review on Capitol Grill than you do your power rankings. I'll tell you that.
I don't say that. And then I'm gonna pause this before, and I'm gonna pause this after. Pause for dessert. The coconut cream pie. Pause is fire. There you go. And if you, because you said it's her birthday, or her husband's
No,
birthday.
yeah.
If she calls and makes a reservation and says, "Hey, it's his birthday," they usually give you something for like a free champagne for each of them, like a glass of champagne, like a free dessert. I'm not even kidding, bro. It's
No. The
fire.
funny shit is, I'll
They
be
give you a
that one that
card.
be like, "Yo, it's my birthday," even if it's just like a regular ass
They don't
day.
need to know. They don't need to know. Hey, to them, it's your birthday. It's fire though.
My
They even
dad
take a
got two
picture if you
birthdays.
want.
Shout out to my dad, man.
How did they change like his name and social when he came to the country? Like
They
change his
definitely
information.
changed. No, I got the same name. I mean, I call him dad, but it's the same name.
That's just on his birth certificate.
Yeah, but nah, he definitely got two different birthdays. His May, I don't remember the other one. I should know it because he got mad at me because I didn't know the Chinese New Year.
That's funny.
I'm like, Dad, I
That's funny.
celebrate this New Year. What are we doing?
It was like you're not even Chinese.
Yeah, it's like, what are we
Yo,
doing?
what's funny about that? I'm gonna tell a little story before you sign off here. So I'm shouting my brother, my younger brother. So we was young, man. We was in elementary school because I'm only 3 years older than him, and I think he was like in first grade, second grade, or whatever. And we used to have to do these reading reports, and then you would write about whatever you did, and the teacher would grade them. And then if you got up below a certain grade, you'd have to go have your parents sign off. Like, yes, I saw this, I reviewed it, right? For some kind of accountability, right? And he didn't want to show my mom, obviously, he didn't do good. And so this guy forges her signature, but instead of writing her name, he writes mom.
Yeah, that's mad funny, bro. That's actually
Yo,
funny.
you know what's tough
He got
though?
cooked.
Yeah, hell yeah, he got cooked. It's not even a question. But what's terrible is like if my son was to do that, you gotta teach him the right way, right? Like that's unacceptable. But that's one of the
Oh,
things where you like you
I thought
laugh,
he was
you
gonna
laugh,
say, yo, I thought he was gonna say you gotta teach him the right way. Like, yo, you don't sign mine, you don't
right?
sign dad, you write
Like,
Matthew.
do you know what my name is? But I think that's a good check right there. Like, do you know what my name is? Like, if you were ever to get lost or in trouble, like, do you know who to tell people to call?
Yo, look. I don't want to keep this episode rolling, but I will because I think this is the shit that relates to the people, or at least this is what the audience really likes, in my opinion. Although they enjoy some of our takes, sometimes the takes can be redundant because we still have our opinions strongly of what we feel.
True.
So when I was I don't know how old I was young, bro. I was young. I had a Gremlins book bag. It was a green Gremlins book bag. I had all my Hot Wheels in. And this at this time, my mom worked at Millstone, which is the nuclear power plant in this
Power play.
area.
Yep.
And I had a, I want to say, I was like 5, pretty young, right? And my mom had a friend that she would babysit me in Groton. Um, and I missed my mom, so I left in the middle of the night, and I ended up at like the convenience store, like down the road, but across the street. Like I don't even know how I got there. I was that young. I don't remember. I just remember this story, and I was like, I just want my mom. So the cops happened to come into that convenience store, and they were like, "What are you doing here?" And I didn't know. I don't even know what I responded. All I know is this because of the story that my mom told me, which was like, they was like, "Who's your mom?" I'm like, "Nisa Millstone," and they're like, "Are you sure that's their name?" Because obviously they're familiar with the power plant. Uh, but that just goes to show you, like, you kind of know what you know. So it was like Nisa
Right.
Millstone, and then my mom told me she wanted to kill the babysitter because there was a pond or a river like behind the house. So they thought I
Oh
drowned in that
shit.
pond because they couldn't find me, and they were freaking out. But my mom is kind of like infamous. See that little,
Yeah.
a little.
That's a
So
good word to describe her.
she was scared to tell my mom because my mom wanted to fucking destroy her. But anyways, how to tell that because sorry, mom, Nisa Millstone. You talked about the names, and at that age, I
Yes.
just didn't know any better.
I think it's a good reminder. Like, hey, make sure your kids know what your names are. I think my kid like so the good news is I have a badge that has my name on it because I got a badge and to go to work, and so my kids see it sometimes. And my son, for sure, Emmanuel, my older one, who's 5, he could read. So I believe that he knows what my name is, right? At
So
least
you're
I
saying I couldn't read at 5 is what you're implying?
well probably not, but that's not what I was saying. But so, like he
Shout out
see
to E man.
what I'm saying is he sees it. So he's like, all right, well, yes, it's dad. Cause I don't know. I know that there's some parents that allow their children to call them by their first name. That is something that I will never understand. Like, nah, bro, you ain't calling me Matt. We ain't equals. We are not equals. That's not how
Yeah.
that's not how it flies. And we will never be. No matter how old you get, I'm dad. But is that he sees it. So I'm pretty sure he knows my name is Matt. And he knows his last name. So I'm like, all right, well, we got the same last name. So hopefully, you know, but now I'm about to go and reinforce, like, hey, what's my name? All right, what's your mom's name? And the shit is my wife's name's kind of tough, right?
Yeah.
Like her nickname
Yeah.
fine,
Yeah.
but her full name is a little tough. So,
Yeah.
he probably fumble that shit, get us hot. Be like, oh, she's probably an immigrant. That's a hot topic right now. And then they'll find me like, oh, especially up here because there's a lot of farms and stuff. So you already know what the motion is up here. I'm
Yeah.
not trying
Yeah.
to say too much, but uh, I ain't trying to get caught up with all that. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna go make sure he knows. All that to say, I'm gonna make sure he knows what my name is. Gonna go practice it. What do you think? When do you think you was like, yeah, I know for sure what my parents' name was? Do you think like you had to write it down a couple
No, I
times
know
or?
when. I know when exactly. So I'm not shy to talk about my past. Shout out to my mom because my mom watches every episode now. By the way,
Shout out. That's a long one. Pause.
she talks about it all the time, and she's like, "You apologize to me on the computer?" I'm like, "Yeah, I guess you could say that, mom." Because you remember the episode where I was like, "Mom, I apologize for like my responses."
Yeah.
But anyways, it was what you talked about your brother. So my mom wasn't always in tune to what I was doing in school.
Right.
And some of the fact was me hiding it because I didn't always get the best grades, granted.
Sure.
But like when I wanted to go on field trips and shit, I remember times my mom was like, just sign it. And I'm like, all right, what am I signing? Like, what? Should I sign my signature? Yo, I knew my matter of fact, Yo, matter of fact, this is true life.
Don't incriminate. Don't
I'm not incriminating.
self-incriminate. All right.
My first signature was my mom's signature.
I just said don't self-incriminate, and you just talking
For
about
school?
man. This guy's
I don't
like,
do it
yeah.
now.
He's like, yo,
I don't even know it
He's
now.
like, I actively committed forgery. No big deal. You bragging
Yeah,
about
fuck
it.
it. In third grade, they did like a what's the clause called after like a certain amount of time? There's a,
Oh yeah, I was just saying.
you know what I'm
Like
talking about?
the limits, whatever. I forget what it's called.
Yeah, yeah.
Statutory limit or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
Or
yeah.
statutes.
I mean, if you
whatever.
want to take me to court,
Yeah, did you mute yourself? Did you mute yourself? Check your mic. Oh my goodness. Yeah, your mic cut out. That's fine. We're good. I'll close it. Yeah, your mic cut out. You're good. You're good. You're good. You're good. I'll close the show. Well, I guess we'll have to have Quan start the show next time with that story he was just telling. But I appreciate everybody for tuning in. I know it's been a little bit over 2 hours, but always love chopping it up. Appreciate Bug for coming through, asking that great question. My guy Joel chopping up at the office, asking about the pod, and everybody who listens. Much love. He rejoined. Much love, and as always, think critically, speak infamously.